It's a big day at President Ramaphosa's Phala Phala game farm in Limpopo. Breeders are there for an auction of one of the top cattle breeds known as the Ankole. Now, you're probably wondering, why are we looking at a game farm auction? Well, this particular Limpopo farm was thrust into the spotlight by revelations of a robbery back in 2020. It's alleged that millions of US dollars were stolen there. That money was earnings from one of the auctions at the now famous Phala Phala farm, according to the presidency. Today, the Ankole Breeders Society of South Africa holding yet another auction. About 15 local and international breeders associations are expected to gather at the farm. It's understood to get underway at 11 o'clock this morning. Now, importantly, Ramaphosa made history. This was back in 2004, though, when he brought the first Ankole genetics into South Africa. They're normally from Central to Northern Africa, the much sought cattle breed, originating, in fact, from Uganda, and is named after the Banyakole people, fetching prices of up to 2.1 million rand here in South Africa. All right, so ordinarily, our Moloko Moloto would be taking a look at the prices of the animals as he heads out to Phala Phala Game Farm for the auction. Hello to you, Moloko. And I don't think you and I are quite in the market to be buying one of the Ankoles today, but there's a lot of interest, A, in how much money these animals fetch because of the fact that those reports spoke about the money that the president had on his property because of the sale of these kinds of animals, and it was tens of millions of rands, wasn't it?
Hello, Gareth. Well, there's a saying that says if horses were wishes, beggars would ride. I obviously am not at that league or in that league of participating in this particular auction. This is for people with deep pockets. And indeed, we are coming to you live outside the Phala Phala Wildlife Farm, just about 45 kilometers west of the small town of Bela in Limpopo. The Phala Phala farm, which is owned by President Cyril Ramaphosa, once again this morning a hive of activity. Last night we made a turn here, Gareth, and we obviously could not be allowed inside the farm itself. We were told that only the so-called agricultural media was accredited to participate in this particular event. And of course, even this morning we tried our luck. We could not be allowed in. We understand there was a gala dinner last night. We saw pictures of people, some of the people who were in there taking pictures with the president, indicating that the president was possibly inside last night. So this morning, of course, people are continuing to trickle in. I have counted approximately 8 marked police vans at the entrance of this particular farm, indicating that the police are surely leaving nothing to chances. And as you get closer, every car that drives towards the gate, you get a sense that the people who are manning the gate are demanding to see if those people are registered. Gareth?
The story behind all of this, though, it's not just about the selling of cattle, isn't it, Moloko? It's the timing of when Fraser, the former spy boss, laid these charges. A lot of supporters of the president coming out and saying that this is politically motivated. Let's just add some context to why this is so very important, why there are police there, and also perhaps why even the media are not allowed inside. It's a hot potato at the moment politically, isn't it?
Well, indeed, it is the issue of timing. Some people really questioning why Fraser has made those revelations now. But some people would say it doesn't matter as to when he really made those that information public. What is important is that he has brought it out in the public. Of course, some people will also say Fraser is not an angel and cannot be canonized as one. However, we heard the president saying that, look, I am a farmer, and this was purely a business transaction, saying that he has not stolen any money. However, we understand, obviously, that the investigations, multiple of those are investigation by the Office of the Public Protector and the Hawks. So we obviously, as the president has been saying, wait for the investigations. However, we must point out that This auction, as it is taking place today at one of the president's farm called Phala Phala Wild Farm outside Bela Bela, this is not where the president is breeding his own Ankole. Reportedly, the president owns another farm, Tamanyoni, in Mpumalanga province. This is where he is breeding his Ankole cattle. As you correctly said, that he was the first person to bring the genetics of this type of cattle back in 2014, around there, from Uganda, after he had met with the president of that country, Yoweri Museveni. Now, we are told that the president is the biggest breeder of this Ankole cattle in the country. So we understand some of those Ankole cattle will be transported from Mpumalanga to be auctioned here in at his Phala Phala farm. As you go through some of the information on the internet, you see that actually one of the president's Ankole cattle a few years back was actually sold for 2.1 million rand, Gareth. So indeed, this is where money will be flying out. We don't know whether the auction organizers will be accepting cash or whether they will be accepting foreign currency, because this seems to be the cause of controversy here. So we're hoping that at some point they will allow to speak or agree to speak to us, since they do not want to allow us in there.
Yeah, the question has got to be, isn't it? Is this EFT? Is cash money being exchanged and hidden away in pieces of furniture? Maybe it's an e-wallet. Who knows how these things happen when you're dealing with this kind of money on these sort of farms. But Moloko, before I say goodbye to you, the issue really for the president here is the backlash, isn't it? One, as the country's president, as the head of the state, the other as the ANC president. And the question's being asked, did he break any laws by not reporting this theft and the allegations of staff being held on his property? And two, the step-aside rule, while there's an investigation ongoing, is very much an ANC construct. So he's going to get it from both sides, isn't he?
Absolutely. Well, the president, when he was first responding to these allegations publicly, he responded to a question or an accusation that nobody really was making towards him. He said, I did not steal from anyone. I did not steal from the taxpayer. Nobody had said he had stolen that money. The question here is whether the president has violated the forex regulations, having kept so much money. We don't know how much is it. It is, he refuses to divulge, but certainly he admits that there was money that had been stored at that farm. So whether he violated the forex regulations, the authorities, including the Reserve Bank, possibly must investigation, but also we are about 6 months away from the national conference of the ANC in December. You cannot remove that from this whole saga, Gareth, because obviously people in politics are using anything, any ammunition at their disposal to wrest off those they are competing with. But of course, he is the president of the country. He cannot plead ignorance to the law, whatever law that he might have contravened. As much as it is up to for the investigators to get down to the bottom of this matter, the president himself ought to have known that he cannot plead ignorance to whatever law that might have been flouted.
Yeah, and that's very much the criticism being levelled at the president as well. And we'll continue to unpack that. Reporter Moloko Moloto standing on the sidelines across the dusty road of Phala Phala Farm. It's the president's farm where this auction is going to be taking place around 11 o'clock this morning. We are, of course, there. We'll continue to bring you the information that we can. As we understand at this hour, media not allowed into the auction itself. And as you heard from Moloko, quite a lot of police presence for what really should ordinarily be nothing more than a cattle game auction. So we'll stay on that story, and Moloko will stay there in the dusty roads outside Phala Phala for